What are some common types of maps?
Political maps show boundaries between nations, states, or provinces, or even counties and cities. They use colors to show where one country or state ends and another begins. Look at this political map of the United States. Not only can you see the various states, but you can locate their capitals, shown as starred cities. Other major cities are also marked. Major rivers, lakes, and other bodies of waters are identified too. The Mississippi River, the Great Lakes, and the Gulf of Mexico are some examples of bodies of water labeled on this map. Now look at this map of Europe. What country is east of Portugal? If you said Spain, you are correct. What nation is between Austria and Poland? Yes, it is the Czech Republic. It is easy to see the different nations because of the use of colors. Can you find the river that flows through Paris, France? That's right, it's the Seine River. On political maps, rivers are shown as the blue. Physical maps also use color to show land elevations and water depths. They name many land forms and bodies of water. They can also identify countries and some major cities. If you look at this map of Europe, you can see where the Alps and the Pyrenees mountain ranges are located. You can also see the Seine River on this map as you did on the political map. The fjords of Norway are labeled, and so is the North Sea between Norway and the British Isles. Most physical maps appear to be three-dimensional. These maps can also be called elevation or relief maps. By looking at the key or legend, you can see what the various color gradations stand for. Usually the dark green areas are the lowest in elevation, and mountains are shown as brown areas. Water depths are shown in shades of blue, with the darker blue showing greater depths. Some physical maps even show the various ridges and other ocean floor features like the Mid-Atlantic Range. A topographical map is another type of map that shows elevation. They usually show a small area in great detail. Contour lines are their most distinctive feature. The curved lines connect points that are the same elevation. The closer the lines are to each other, the steeper the incline or slope. Some topo maps even show where man-made structures are located. Weather maps appear in most major daily newspapers. They can tell you many things about the weather that has occurred in your area yesterday and what it will probably be like today. Let's look at this weather map. It shows different temperature zones on a specific day. You can see the warmer areas and the cooler ones. You can also see where warm, cold, and stationary fronts are located. You can tell which is which by looking at the map legend. A front is a line of separation at the Earth's surface between cold and warm air masses. High and low pressure areas are labeled with the symbols H and L. Isobar lines are also shown on weather maps. Isobars show lines of equal pressure in the atmosphere. Weather maps can also indicate areas that experience rain, thunderstorms, snow, or ice. As you can see, these maps tell us a lot more than temperature. Like so many other maps, climate maps use colors to show different climate regions. Climate types can be grouped into categories that are defined by average temperatures and the amount of rainfall. This climate map of Asia shows that a large part of Southeast Asia has a humid subtropical climate. The extreme northern part of the continent has a tundra climate. Precipitation or rainfall maps use their colors to identify areas with different levels of average annual rainfall. The colors usually range from lighter to darker shades, indicating increased amounts of rain with darker colors. As you look at this map of Australia and its neighbors, you will see that a large area in the Australian interior receives very little rain, while the greatest portion of the island of New Guinea gets very heavy rain. Vegetation maps show the natural vegetation of a region. Natural vegetation refers to the types of plants that exist or existed in an area before being changed by man, through farming or other modifications to the environment. Various types of natural vegetation include grasslands or savannas, steppes, broadleaf forest, tropical rainforest, and desert. Land use maps show how people make use of the land on which they live. Again, colors are used here to indicate the predominant type of activity. The land use shown could be of a general nature, such as grazing, ranching, or forest products. Or it could be specific, identifying areas where a certain crop, such as cotton or wheat, is grown. According to this land use map of Europe, we can see that in spite of the heavy industrialization of much of the continent, agriculture, the raising of crops and livestock, is still the predominant use of land on the continent. A population density map shows the average number of people living within a given area of the region covered by the map. This density is usually shown in one of two different ways. One type of map uses dots, with each dot representing a certain number of people. A large concentration of dots indicates a high concentration of people. As we can see from this population density map of the United States, there are large concentrations of people on the northeastern seaboard around New York, and another heavy concentration in the Chicago area at the southern tip of Lake Michigan. Another type of population density map uses colors to identify various levels of population. On these maps, the darker the color, the higher the population density. This population density map of the world shows that large parts of Europe, India, and China have very heavy population densities that are only duplicated in the largest cities of the rest of the world. This strange-looking map is called a cartogram. It is a map that shows statistics geographically. While looking at a cartogram of the world's population, you can see that the countries are not shown in the way they usually are on a traditional map. Their size is not accurately rendered. Instead, nations with greater numbers of people are enlarged, and countries with lesser populations are made smaller. Some very small nations, such as Monaco, San Marino, and Andorra in Europe, are not even depicted. You can tell that China and India have the largest populations in the world. What nation in Africa has the largest population? The answer is Nigeria. Another very different looking map is the profile map, or cross-section diagram. These maps cut a land area in two so that you can see the area from a side view. They show how the land varies in altitude or elevation and the general shape of the land forms. As we can see from this profile map of South America, the Andes Mountains on the west coast are much higher than the Brazilian highlands on the east coast.